So last week I reviewed the Xiaomi Mi 5S, and this here is the larger version, which is the Mi 5S Plus. It now has a 5.7-inch screen. It's still 1080p and has a dual camera setup, something that is similar to the Honor 8 or the Huawei P9. Now this one here I picked up from AliExpress, got it from a seller called Goldway, Hong Kong, and they did a pretty good job of getting this out to me nice and quick. So this model also has the Snapdragon clocked slightly higher. So the Snapdragon 821 is now running at 2.35 gigahertz, which is the normal speed, not like the Mi 5, which had it, Mi 5S had it running at only 2.15. So they've included an adapter in there for me. You can see, so that's for US to EU. Very nicely packaged up. So being the fact that it still has the factory seal on there, it's going to have no Play Store. So I'm going to have to install that later on, which isn't too difficult to do. All you need to do is just get an APK file on there, which is the Google Play installer. So try not to cut my fingers here. It's a razor sharp knife that I've got there. So the box looks just like the Mi 5S's. Very plain, as you can see, just the MI logo on the front, the Mi logo there. Okay, so there's the phone there. You can see this version is the white and gold one that I got. Just put the mobile aside for a second and have a look at the accessories. So they've included a case. I didn't actually know that they were going to do that. So a clear plastic case there. It's a hard case, this one. Mi Plus manual with the SIM tool right there, and that is all in Chinese. Here's the charger. So this charger is a quick charge one because it is rated to 12 volts, 1.5 amps, and a black Type-C cable. So USB to Type-C there. So just get all that out of the way and we'll focus on the mobile. So along the bottom here, you can see the Type-C port. We've got two Torx screws there holding the rear housing against the front there. So we'll have a loudspeaker and microphone, so it'll be a similar setup to the Mi 5S. And just get this backing off. There we have the fingerprint reader. We have two 13 megapixel cameras in here, so very different to that of the Mi 5S. You can see the Mi 5S here just has that Sony IMX378 sensor, and this has two Sony sensors in there. So one is going to be monochrome, the other is handling color. So it's a setup very similar to that of the Honor 8 or the Huawei P9. Dual LED flash. There's a small little antenna line there. This has got a textured metal backing on it, but it has like a plastic clear paint job over the top of it. We have metal, volume up and down, and power on button there. IR blast is something, again, that the Mi 5S doesn't have, the IR blaster, so it's good to see that. There's secondary mic, 3.5mm headphone jack. So that front bezel just around the outside of the screen, we do have 2.5D glass, but that is made out of plastic. I can feel, yeah, definitely plastic. Just that little lip there. Now the build of it feels very solid. That really has no flex in it. So build quality seems quite good. So just have a look at the weight of it. It's 168 grams, and the Mi 5S is lighter at 149, and the thickness of it is around 8mm there, you can see. So let's get this powered up and go through the first setup. Holding the power button down here for about 3 seconds. It doesn't actually look like, there we go. It is going to come on. Actually, it took quite a while. I was holding it down for probably about 6 seconds. While that is starting up, there's a quick size comparison here. Here's my Samsung Galaxy S6 Plus Edge. The S6 Edge and my Samsung Galaxy S7 there, just for size comparison. You see a bit of a difference there. Okay, so here we have MIUI 8 is the shipping operating system, which is exactly the same as the Mi 5S. Just quickly go through that. So we've got Chinese and English because this is the Chinese ROM. Now, if you want other languages, you're going to have to wait for the global ROM, which will hopefully be out in a couple of months' time. Now, just like the Mi 5S, there is no micro SD card support, which is very disappointing that Xiaomi have not put that in there. Actually, now I'll go back and just have a quick look and set my fingerprint up. Got to put a PIN number in first. Of course, I got the Chinese keyboard, which is just something to deal with until you get Google Play installed, and then you can go and install Google's keyboard, which is a lot better than this. Okay, this is a little bit annoying, this part. Yeah, I know. Okay. So go back here, go into English. Fine, I can do that. So I'm just going to get a pin set up, a very secure one there. No one's going to guess that. Okay, so add my finger. So it's just going to be like the README series, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times. Let's quickly check that, lock it. And that wakes up straight away. So you don't need to wake the system first. Just place my finger on there and it unlocks. And that seems to be working quite well. So choose a theme, setup is complete. That's good. So this is going to be full of a lot of bloat, no doubt. Yeah, you can see there's a lot of Chinese apps on there. The good thing is you can uninstall literally 90% of them. And of course, when you get that global ROM, when that comes out, then you're going to have no bloat on there, no Chinese stuff anyway, because you get a bit of Chinese that pops up from the various different applications that are on there pre-installed. So if I quickly go into browser, I want to have a look at those bezels. So it does have a black bezel there. It's a little bit smaller. It's not as bad as something like the Lee Echo, Lee Max 2 or the Lee Pro 3, which have very large black borders around there, but it is obvious. But if you get a black front, if they do have the black front version, you won't see those borders there. So quickly go into the camera because I'm very curious to have a look and see what modes it's going to have. So we do have that depth of field mode. I can see that already. That's just like the Redmi Pro. You turn on that stereo mode so you can adjust the amount. It's the standard modes there you get with the MIUI 8. And can it actually record in 4K? Because I couldn't actually confirm that. What I was seeing was just 1080p maximum, which is going to be disappointing if that is the case. No, here we go, 4K video quality, so that's good. So it does have those two sensors on the rear. I just get it out of stereo mode. Actually, no, I was already out of it. Turn that off and have a look. Okay, something buggy just happened there with the camera. You see that? The viewfinder is... Oh, what is going on? I'm going to have to launch that again. So that was a bug. There we go. Now it's working. So I just wanted to have a look what happens if I cover one of these sensors here. So if I cover that one, okay, that's obviously the main sensor. If I cover the second, if I can do this, there we go, cover that one. And that's not affecting photos by the looks of it. Because one of them, this one here is monochrome, obviously, and that one there is color. So I'm going to go outside and take a whole lot of samples and compare also the camera to the Mi 5S. And we'll have a look and see what kind of quality, because Xiaomi claimed that it can take a really good photo combining the two images with the monochrome and color there. So just get out of that, quick look at the operating system version. No doubt I could have a few updates once they connect. So you can see here now that the Snapdragon 821 clocked to 2.35 gigahertz. 4 gigabytes of RAM is the minimum you get on this model, not 3 like I have on the Mi 5S here. That's only 3. You can of course get this model with 128 gigabytes of internal storage, and then it does have 4 gigabytes of RAM. So the build of it is, well, it's running Android 6.0.1 and the Mi operating system is 8.06. So there'll probably be some updates because I think the latest version is 8.0.10. Before I forget, a quick look at the SIM tray. So it's just like the Mi 5S again. So it's dual nano SIMs there, 4G nano SIMs, and of course no micro SD card support, which is extremely disappointing to see that they have not added that in, which I do believe they should have. It's a bigger error on their part not to include micro SD card support. Now for a quick loudspeaker test against the Samsung Galaxy S7. So first up, I'll play a track on the Mi 5S Plus. 100% volume. So it sounds like Xiaomi put a very decent loudspeaker in there that's louder than the Samsung Galaxy S7, and I think it sounds actually a little bit better. Let's have a closer look at the screen now. The brightness is set to about 50% here. I'm going to increase that now to 100, which is probably overpowering the camera's exposure that I have set, but it does look really good. Not bad at all. Of course, later on I'll measure this in my review and check out the maximum brightness, but for a 1080p panel at 5.7 inches, it doesn't look bad at all. But of course, 1080p, if you're going to be using this thing here in virtual reality, you'd probably want a 1440p screen, or, well, for virtual reality, I would think that 4K screens would probably be a lot better for that, but we're not quite at that point yet. So just to quickly compare it here with the Mi 5S, in terms of display quality, I think that the Mi 5S, that display looks to be a little bit brighter, perhaps even a bit sharper, of course, because it's 5.15 inches versus the 5.7 we have on the Mi 5S Plus. So we've got the ultrasonic fingerprint reader on the Mi 5S, and we just have the fingerprint reader on the back with the Redmi Note kind of style to it, which I don't mind. I don't mind the location there on the back, but some people don't like that. They like to have it on the front because they want to check their phone face when it's face up. You can't do that, of course, with this one. So the rear navigation keys, they are backlit, of course, on both of these, but it will just light up as a single little dots here on the Mi 5S. Build quality, and say that I think the Mi 5S just feels a little bit more solid. It's got the advantage of being smaller there, so it's going to be stronger. And the cameras between both of these, well, I will do a comparison and find that out. And the size of them together, you see there that there is a reasonable difference there. It depends what you want, the smaller device or the larger one. So one of the advantages of getting this larger model over the Mi 5S is the fact that it does have an extra 800 milliamp hours there of battery capacity, which is no doubt going to translate into quite a few more hours of working time. So I'm just going to take a couple of images now outside very quickly just to get a rough impression of the cameras on it. We see that this one here is the color one, and then we have the monochrome. Also going to record some 4K video and a front facing camera sample. So let's have a look at those. So here's a quick 4K sample shot with the dual camera setup on the Xiaomi Mi 5S Plus. Now I do believe that when it is shooting in video that it's only using the color sensor, so just the first 13 megapixel sensor. Let's have a look and see how the focus handles focusing in on this cactus here. And I think it has phase detection autofocus, so it should be quite quick. And a quick front-facing camera sample. So it's got the same 4 megapixel camera as the Mi 5 S does, and other Xiaomi mobiles have the exact same ultra pixel camera setup, which lets in a little bit more light. The quality seems okay. I'm currently in the shade here, so I'm just going to step into the sun and see what difference that makes with the exposure. Now, just like the Mi 5S, I can see, yeah, it's overexposing my face. It's just a little bit too white. Okay, so that's the unboxing video there and the first look at it. My first impressions are overall quite good. Do like the build of it. The screen of it does seem nice. The fact that it's got slightly less bezels than the Mi 5S, and it does have a larger battery. So I'm expecting better performance, better battery life, because it also does have a higher clocked Snapdragon 821 and an extra gigabyte of RAM. So I will be back later on with some camera comparisons too, as well as my full review going over all of my findings. So if you are interested in seeing that, why not think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And hopefully I'll catch you back in the review.